First farmers, 2000 BCE. More than 8,000 years have passed, and the people have learned how to grow crops and keep animals. They have also developed new skills such as pottery making, weaving cloth, and metalworking. The site by the river now has a permanent settlement of wooden huts with thatched roofs made from straw. Thatched wooden hut, and you can see the straw roof. Livestock. The people have started to keep cattle, pigs, sheep, and goats for meat and milk. See the livestock right here and all throughout here. Good shot. The people have also invented a useful weapon for hunting, the bow and arrow. Over here you can see they're using the bow and arrow. Up in smoke. Fire is a great danger in wooden huts with thatched roofs. It can spread quickly. Right here. Sacred stones. Several villages have joined together to build a stone circle. That's right here. New clothes. Clothes are now made from woolen cloth as well as leather and fur. The women spin, weave, and sew. You can see over here. Clay pots. This man is using river clay to make pots for the settlement. And that's the pottery over here. Keep out. A wooden palisade around the village protects the people from wild animals. Walls right here. Growing grains. Wheat and barley grow in the fields. The crops are cut with a sickle made from a sharp piece of flint. And that's the people are over here cutting the crops. Barrow. Members of the family are buried in a grave covered in a mound of earth. And that's all the way up here. The Iron Age. Around 600 BCE. Many hundreds of years pass. People have found out how to produce the metal iron, and they use it to make better tools and weapons. The village has prospered, but there are battles with neighboring tribes, who are fierce rivals. The chief has built a fort on the hillside to protect the village from invasion. So over here you can see an ancient stone circle in the fog. Here's an enemy's head on a spike. Here's some guards. These people are tattooing, so they're making pictures on their skin with ink that don't wash off. Here's a loom. This is what they would consider a sacred grove. Here's the rival warriors. They're fighting. Here's some cattle, and they're on horses. Here's a thatched wooden hut. Here's a pottery kiln. These people are fishing. These ones are on a wooden boat, and there's a foreign trader trying to sell stuff that they don't have. This is the chief right here. Here's some prisoners right here. Right there. This is a blacksmith. These are thatchers, so they're putting the roof on this thatched wooden hut. These are carpenters, and these guys are plowing. This is a fort right here, so there's other people living inside this fort. And then this is an ancient barrow. So boating. Here's a boat right here. Little boats called coracles are made out of sticks and animal skin. Fancy outfits. The people have used natural dyes found in the earth and plants to make colorful cloths. The wooden fort. The chief has built a stronghold called a fort on the hill. It's made out of wood. Wooden statues. Can you find 3 wooden statues set up by the villagers? Exotic goods. A foreign trader has sailed up the river. The villagers are eager to buy his wine, silverware, and pots. First, farming. To help people farm a more efficient it has been made from iron. A river ritual. Here's a priest. Priests often captured enemy weapons to the gods by throwing them into the river. Stealing cattle. A rival tribe has arrived to steal the villagers' cattle. They have traveled here on wheeled wagons. Top man. After the warriors, the priest, the blacksmith is the most important man in the village. Roman times, 100 CE. The Roman Empire has spread across much of Europe, bringing a new way of life. Our village has become a town with hundreds of people. The town has large stone and brick buildings, shops, taverns, a temple, and a school. A bridge has been built across the river for the first time. Professional soldiers are stationed in the fort. School days. Children from rich families attend school. Can you find the schoolroom where a lesson is taking place? Here it is. Townhouse. A rich family lives in a townhouse called a domus. The domus has beautiful statues and paintings. Here's the bedroom. Bath time. People use the luxurious bathhouse in the town to bathe or just to relax and socialize. Here it is. It's a lot bigger of a bathtub than we have today. It's kind of more like a swimming pool. Slave labor. Most hard work is done by slaves. Find a batch of slaves arriving in their chains. Wait. There they are. See the chains around them? Native huts. Some of the inhabitants of the old village still live in their wooden thatched huts. There they are. Eating out. Most people go to the tavern for hot food because they live in small apartments that don't have kitchens. Here's the tavern. Imported goods. Merchant ships bring goods from all over the empire. Wine is stored in containers called amphorae. Imported wine. There's the in amphorae right there. They're carrying them out. Ready for action. The fort where Roman soldiers are stationed. They drill and march so they are always ready for action. There's the Roman soldiers, and that's the fort is still there. Crowd pleaser. In the amphitheater, gladiators often fight to the death to amuse the crowd. That's the amphitheater. The invaders. 600 CE. Barbarian tribes have swept across Europe, destroying the Roman way of life. A group have settled into the ruins of our town. All the Roman comforts, such as the baths and piped water, have been forgotten. People are living in wooden huts again, growing vegetables and hunting in the surrounding forests. Out of order. The Roman bathrooms have been destroyed, so there is very little privacy. Modest dwellings. The simple huts are made of wood. The chief has the biggest hut, and he has displayed a hunting trophy over the door. Big bad wolf. Wolves have taken a sheep. The shepherd boy tries to drive them away with his sling. On the hunt. The chief and his sons have been out hunting. The wild boar they have killed will be a welcome addition to their food stores. Fresh fish. The fish traps will help provide the villagers with extra fresh food. Trotting around. Pigs roam through the village scavenging. This one takes a bite out of someone's laundry. Mystery shield. This woman has found a strange shield in the river. Do you remember where it was used? Precious timber. Wood is used for cooking, heating, and building. Find 5 people chopping or gathering wood. Fenced in. Sticks are used to make wooden fences. This keeps the sheep from straying. So here's the shepherd boy. He's chasing the wolves. Here's some old columns from the Roman temple. That's the fallen apart Roman amphitheater. There's the ancient barrow still. The broken down Roman fort. We got dried meat. Got a carpenter. Blacksmith. Vegetable patch. Here's people washing clothes, and that's the pig eating the laundry. Here's some beggars. This is the chief's hut. Here's some women weaving. And that's the guy that's peeing on the ground because there's no bathrooms anymore. This is the chief. This is the thatched wooden hut. That's the sheep pen. And then here's laying fish traps. Viking raiders, 900 CE. The barbarians have now been settled for hundreds of years. They have become Christians and have grown prosperous. They have a king who gives his orders through the local chiefs. Now a new danger has appeared. Fierce Viking raiders have arrived from Scandinavia and are seeking booty and slaves. Sold as slaves. The people flee. Women and children will be sold into slavery if they are captured by the raiders. Here's some people fleeing. They're running away. Praying priest. The priest hopes that his prayers will drive back the raiders and leave the town in peace. Can you find him? Here's the praying priest right here. He has his cross in his hands. And I think these are actually the people that are fleeing from the village. Stone church. Here it is right here. Unlike the huts, the church is built of stone and will not burn down easily. Buried treasure. The villagers are in a panic. Some try to hide their valuables by burying them underground. Occupied. The village has an outdoor toilet, a very awkward place to be during a raid. Dawn raid. 2 boatloads of Vikings have rowed quietly up the river before dawn and have taken the villagers by surprise. So see the Viking ships. Here's another Viking ship. Hiding places. Find a person hiding in a barrel, and another under a table, and another in a basket. Precious booty. The church has gold and silver ornaments that attract raiders, but its books are likely to be burned. Self-defense. An iron cooking pot can be a good weapon. This family just might be able to escape. So here's the family. She's hitting the raider with a cooking pot, and they're trying to escape. Here's a hole in their house for smoke to come out, because you can see they have a fire pit. Here's the ancient stone circle. That's the ancient barrow. You can see that the old fort is just covered with trees now. This is the chief's hall with a wooden roof. Here's a jetty. Here's a thatched wooden hut. You can see that the Viking raiders have put this one on fire. It's burning. Here's the graveyard. Medieval village, 1200s. More than 300 years have passed. The king has given land to a lord who has built a castle to control the area. The lord rents the land to mounted warriors called knights for their support in defending the village. Peasants have been granted small strips of land from the knights in return for work in the fields or payments of money or goods. Exotic cloth. The lord's wife is buying cloth from a foreign merchant. Can you find them? They're right here. That's the foreign merchant. Market day. Today is market day. Some people have come from other villages to buy and sell goods. Strips of land. The village has 3 fields. Each villager has strips of land in each field. So here's the land. So you have barley strips, different fields growing. These are wheat strips growing. You have common land over here where the animals are grazing on. This is fallow land, so this is land that's unplanted. Flour power. Villagers grind their grain in the Lord's mill. They think the miller keeps some of their flour. So here's the windmill to grind the grain. Foul play. A ball game with boys from the neighboring village is turning into a rowdy riot. Here are the boys. So you can see the ball that they're playing with in this yard. And then these boys have turned to a fight. So they're rolling around and fighting. Stone castle. The Lord has built a stone castle. From it, he can control all the surrounding land. So here's the stone castle. And that's called a keep right here on the top. Common ground. Villagers use the common to graze livestock such as sheep and cattle. Market minstrels. Find the entertainers in the marketplace playing music for the crowds. They are called minstrels. Here's the minstrel right here. See how he's standing on something tall so all the people around him can hear his music? Upriver. It's cheaper to bring goods by river and safer true. There may be outlaws in the forest. So upriver. So see? Here's the boat and he's bringing all this to the village. Medieval town, 1400s. Thanks to the trade brought by boats up the river, the village has now grown into a town. Its citizens have purchased a charter from their lord. This gives them more rights and allows them to run the town. Some of the merchants have become very rich and can afford to improve their households and shops. In trouble. Can you guess what the Rowdy Inn is called from the sign hanging outside it? Here's the inn. Watch out! Household waste gets thrown out into the street. Can you see who's in for a nasty shock? It's right there. So the people would pee and poop at night in these pots. They call them a chamber pot. And the people that lived up high would just dump it out the window. So these whoever's underneath it would have it fall on their heads like rain. Past relics. A man has found an ancient helmet in the river. Who do you think once wore it? Conveniences. Rich citizens can afford to have expensive glass in their windows and an indoor toilet of a sort. So you can see right here, see his indoor toilet? There's a bucket on the inside of the toilet that the waste collects into, and then they can dump it. Skilled work. Craftsmen have formed guilds. These unions protect the craftsman and set standards of work. Clean water? ? Most people still have to get their drinking water from the dirty river. Remodeling. The Lord is making improvements to his castle to make it more comfortable. A grisly end. Petty thieves are placed in the stocks, and the gibbet is used to hang murderers. Open shop. In the bustling town, shop fronts are lowered and used as counters by the shopkeepers. So here's a lord and his wife returning from a trip. You can see the black rats have come off this foreign merchant ship, and they would often carry diseases. This is the armorer's workshop. This is a woman working on a tapestry. A merchant lending money. The wine merchant's house. Bedroom. The cellar where they're storing the wine. This is a stone bridge they've built across the river. Here's a religious procession. You can see the cross right there. This is the weaver shop. This is the cobbler shop. So that's where you go to get your shoes. Here's some people collecting firewood. This is the church. It's much taller now. These people on the horses are deer hunters, and you can see they also have dogs to help them. The same windmill and the miller's house. The plague strikes, 1500s. The Black Death arrived in Europe from the Far East in 1347, carried by the fleas on the black rats. Over the next 300 years, it kept returning. Most people caught the plague died. The disease has now hit our prosperous town, and the people are trying to stop everyone from catching it, using force. To prevent the plague from spreading, soldiers have been sent to stop people from leaving the town. Finding a cure. Find the apothecary mixing a potion in his shop, trying to find a cure for the plague. Brave priest. Although the priest is frightened of catching the plague, he still tends to this dying man. Infestation. The open sewers in the streets attract the rats. They are everywhere now. Spotting symptoms. Black spots under the arms were a sign of the plague. Which poor person has just found these symptoms? Plague pits. A cart collects the dead and takes them to a plague pit where their bodies are buried together. Breaking in. Thieves are taking advantage of a family's illness by stealing their valuables. Smelly sulfur. Sulfur is burned in the street to try to get rid of the deadly infection. It has a nasty smell. Mark of death. A white cross on the door shows there's plague inside and no one can leave the house. So here's the stone castle. Here's the windmill. This is the apothecary shop. So they're trying to mix medicine. This person just saw the black spot on their arm and knows that they're sick. Here's a doctor. This is the inn. You can see these people are carrying something. This is the printing press. Here's some burglars. This is the kitchen. This is the cellar. You can see the carts of the horses. These are the soldiers keeping everybody from leaving the town. This is a shop. They're painting a white cross on the door because the people inside have the plague. Here's the priest praying over them. And here's the plague pit where they put the bodies. And here's the church. Under attack, 1600s. Disputes over territory and new ideas about religion have boiled over into violence, and the town is under attack. Enemy soldiers have invaded the town, setting fire to buildings and stealing valuables. The enemy is armed with deadly new weapons, and not even the strong castle walls can withstand the pounding of the new powerful cannons. Look out! A soldier's been hit by a falling shop sign while trying to flee from the enemy. Can you spot him? Right there. Shh! Two people are trying to keep out of trouble by hiding under the bed. Can you find them? There they are. Pointy pike. Can you find the innkeeper being threatened with a pike, a nasty weapon carried by foot soldiers? There. Loaded muskets. The soldiers use guns called muskets. They fire only one bullet and then they have to be reloaded. See, they're carrying. Great escape. People are in a panic. Some try to hide their valuables while others try to escape with them. Oh, ouch! Painkillers do not exist yet, but the doctor has to cut off a patient's shattered leg anyway. Rooftop rescue. Some people climb onto the roof of their houses, hoping they can escape from the enemy. There she is. There they are. New weapons. Cannons have been around a long time, but the new designs are much more powerful. There's the cannons. Enemy troops. Enemy soldiers surround the town, and many have broken in, killing, destroying, and stealing. Here's the town soldiers. Looks like here's the enemy, because they're one. See the people. Kitchen, the merchant's house, printing press. Here's a cannon. This is the inn. A stone house, windmill, miller's house, stone house, church. An age of elegance, 1700s. Peace has returned and the town is prospering again. Some houses have been repaired, while others have been rebuilt in the latest style. The wealthy citizens have a lot of spare time. They pride themselves on their polite manners, their learning, and their elegant parties. Their servants still live in small living quarters. Trendy wigs. Wigs are very fashionable now. This man is choosing a new one from a selection in the wig shop. Street sellers. Some people make a living by selling fruit, flowers, and other goods in the busy street. Sweeping soot. Can you find the chimney sweep and his climbing boy on their way to work? Travel in style. Sedan chairs are used by wealthy people so they can travel in comfort through the streets. Fast coach. A mail coach speeds out of the inn. These coaches carry passengers as well as mail from town to town. Coffee house. Recently, coffee has been imported and has become a fashionable drink. Highwaymen. An outlaw has arrived in town and he's broken into someone's house, looking for valuables to steal. New decor. Plaster and colorful wallpaper have replaced the old wooden paneling inside the houses. Stately homes. The new lord has left the ruined castle and now lives in a beautiful mansion. So this is the castle ruins. See, it got ruined the last time. So now he lives in a lord mansion. This is the squire's house. This is a hat shop. That's the chimney sweep. Coffee house. Highwayman, he's stealing the valuables. Guest room, guest room. This is a bar. Here's the mail coach. This is the rat catcher. Sedan chair. Stagecoach. Here's a statue. This is the town hall. This is the servants' bedrooms. Servants' bedrooms. This is the wife's bedroom. This is the husband's bedroom. Here's people playing cards. Here's some women reading poetry. Here's some women and men dancing. Here's the living room. And at the very bottom, you can see the kitchen and the laundry room are in the basement. Here's the wig shop. Here's a reading room. Here's a bedroom. This is a brick building. Here's a shoe shop. Here's a milkmaid coming into town with milk. Here's the church, which has a spire on it now, and a clock. Grim times. Early 1800s. Coal has been discovered nearby. New industries with machines powered by steam have moved into the town, and factories have been built to house them. People from the countryside have come to work in these factories. The factory owners make a lot of money, but their workers have to live and work in terrible conditions. Child workers. Poor children have to work a ton. Have to work too so that they can earn money. Most cannot read or write. River barge. Heavy goods such as coal are carried by barges. The barges are pulled by the horses on the riverbank. Drip drop. Find the man whose roof is leaking. He can't afford to repair it. Taken ill. With the overcrowding, dirt, and polluted water, many people become ill. Dangerous drinking. Some people drink to forget their misery. This drunk has had a little too much and is in danger of falling off the roof. Watch out. These nasty men are using children to pick pockets in the street for them. On the street. There are no homes to look after orphans. Some live and sleep on the street. Up, up, and away. A few brave men are experimenting with a new form of travel. Can you find them? Air pollution. The air is now polluted by the smoke bellowing from all the factory chimneys. So here's the factory chimneys. You can see all the smoke is polluting the air, so it's hard to breathe. That's the hot air balloon the men are traveling in. Here's the castle ruins. That's the mansion. These are coal mines. Here's a factory. Here's a liquor shop, a milk cart, pawnbroker shop, pickpockets, gambling, an inn. Here's the horse pulling the coal barge, the factory owner's office, the ironmonger's shop. Here's a bath, rooms for poor families. As you can see, the whole family, they just got one room. Living room, servant's room, a church, a shoe shop. Here's some waste being emptied out of buckets into the street. Holes in the roof are covered up. Families having to share rooms, and a dress shop. The street today. Our city has changed a lot since the 19th century. Modern businesses have replaced most heavy industries, people have become more environmentally aware, and leisure time has increased for many people. Landmarks from the different eras remain, but many have become tourist attractions bringing visitors to the city. City heritage. The castle is now a protected historical monument and an important tourist attraction for the city. Here's the castle ruins. Here's some tourists coming to look at it. In the suburbs, many people who work in the city live in houses or apartments that have been built outside the city. New technology. People rely on new technology for work and leisure, such as computers and cell phones. Doing chores. Inventions such as washing machines and vacuum cleaners make domestic work easier for everyone. City museum. Trains no longer use the railroad station. It is now a museum, housing objects from the past. Modern architecture. There is a handsome new city hall. Look how much glass has been used to build it. Modern streetcars pass by carrying commuters and tourists. Going green. The city is starting to use renewable energy from this wind farm. Flying off. Large passenger planes enable people to travel abroad easily and quickly. Sunken treasure. Men dredging the river have found a chest on the riverbed. Who dropped it there and when? Alright, so here's a nursery, a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, a cafe, a wine bar, an antique store. Over here we have a shoe store, a restaurant. Here's some traffic. There's someone's on a canoe. A dredger's right here. Here's the man with the treasure chest. A motor cruiser. Here's a streetcar. That's City Hall. A bank. A vault. A gym. A clothing store. A bookstore. A dentist. A bedroom. A lawyer's office. Artist studio. Hairdresser salon. Office building. Crane. Apartments. Church. Cafe. Gift shop. Museum. Jogger. Rowboat. And that's the end of this book.